Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to take a look at the Bruichladdich Octomore 9.3. Comes in at a whopping 133 ppm, parts per million as far as the peat level, smoke content, and it is aged 5 years and comes in this beautiful frosted glass, unlike the .1, .2, and .4s, which come in all black. Dustin, you suggested this particular bottle. You've had it for a little while. We're very impressed with it. Had it for probably 4 or 5 months now. Drank it down a little further compared to some Octomores earlier in the week. Comes in at a whopping 62.9% ABV. If you can pick that up on the camera. And I'm excited to bring it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't do a ton of Octomores. I have probably 3 or 4 that I can bring you guys as far as a whiskey review. So this was actually mentioned to me by one of my subscribers and buddies, Casey Goldberg, the Montreal whiskey assassin up there, said, Mike, you don't do enough Octomores, you should do a few more. I said, Casey, I got you, buddy. I'll do some Octomores for you. So I wanted to bring this 9.3. I have a few of the 10s that we'll get into next. But Dustin, you were right about this 9.3. I was really impressed with it. And the 9.3s, just to let you know a little bit what makes them special. For one, they come in the clear frosted glass as opposed to the all black, which means you can tell how far the whiskey level is. If you do take a picture of it and post it online, people might think you're drinking a beer. As I got last week when I went on Scotch Addicts.
I hate to say it, but I knew what you were drinking, and I still thought you were drinking beer.
Yeah, I put 2 of them next to each other. I'm like, oh, what are you drinking, German beers? Like, no. Okay. And besides that, the 11.3s, they use all Islay Barley. So everything's sourced from an farm right there on the island of Islay. Sometimes it'll tell us here on the tube what farm that was from, and it's from Octomore Farm. So Islay Barley at Irene's Field, Octomore Farm. Vintage 2012 limited edition. So, always like when everyone supports the local community. Islay isn't a big island. Even though it houses, 7 huge whiskey, just not huge, but very popular whiskey distilleries, at least amongst us fans. And it's home to, 3,500 people?
It is, roughly? Yeah, I think that's right. And yeah, we're talking small.
Small place. Some of the greatest peated whiskeys in the world. This is unchill filtered and uncolored. This is a beautiful light gold, I would say.
Yeah,
gold -1.
Yeah, for sure. 18,000 bottles. Mm-hmm. And now I have forgotten the wine cask finishing here, guys. And truth be told, I think Mike and I looked at it. We would butcher the names.
Yes, they were names that
we don't know.
Yeah, we're Americans. We know English barely, and every time I try to pronounce something in French or a different language, it just doesn't come off.
Yeah, but ex-bourbon barrels, I'm pretty sure, are used here, as well as 2 different French wines.
Yes.
One of them being more of like a fortified dessert wine, is my understanding. Mm-hmm. Again, we're not experts on French wine.
Or the French language. Beautiful city, Paris, I hear.
Yeah, I've heard. It's great stuff.
Okay, so obviously you get a ton of smoke with all of these Octomores, the highest ppm, highest smoked peated level of any whiskey, the smokiest whiskeys made. Now this one isn't the smokiest. Octomore comes in 133. There are some that are over 300, but all of them, let's just say, are not cheating as far as the smoke.
But this is definitely on the low side, and I think it comes off on the nose.
Sure.
The smoke's there, but it's a clean, nice, just sort of. It's more roasted, a little bit more earthy. Mm-hmm. The barley is really the showcase on the nose.
Absolutely. The first thing you'll get besides the smoke is just that barley note.
Yeah.
That rich barley note that I get really in all Octomores.
Yeah. And the other night we were comparing this to the 10.3. We were on the phone, chatting and drinking whiskey as we do, and I kind of came to the conclusion that the 9.3, those wine cask finishes complement the barley. Mm-hmm. Whereas the bourbon casks seem to kind of enhance the sweetness, but maybe don't enhance the barley character.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference between the .1s and the .3s when you go with the Octomores. Most people will say the .3s are their preferred of each version of it, where the .4s usually go virgin cast and the .2s are what Trevor retail, or they can be up for sale.
They tend to be more exotic wine finishings.
Yeah, but I always thought, I've never been disappointed with the 3. Some of my favorites were the 6-1 and the 7-1. But again, they're all pretty basic, just bourbon. This one gets a little bit more aggressive as far as what it does with it. And I tell you, speaking of that aggressiveness, once you get past the barley note, which is super evident, and the smoke, which is super evident, man, I get a sugary sweetness on this one.
I was just getting ready to say, Mike, to what I get, and here's your 10-point scale of sweetness, right? This thing starts here, it goes up, almost hitting that 10 mark, and then it peters off and it almost goes to a slight sour right at the very end of the nose.
Yeah,
and it's a roller coaster. It's woo!
It's amazing how sweet something this smoky can get.
You know, I actually forget that there's smoke in this when I'm nosing it, Mike. I mean, it's there, you can't miss it, but it's so sweet, you miss it. You're focused on, like, what is that? Because you know there's a wine cask. You know there's some sugar, I mean, it's confectionery sugars, and you're just like, gosh, this is sweet.
And the thing with smoke in a whiskey is there's different types of smoke. Lafroig has that super medicinal smoke. That Lagavulin has that oily, dense, rich, aristocratic smoke. This one, like Kalila, is a cleaner smoke, almost an unburnt peat smoke. You know what I mean?
Charcoal on the grill.
Yeah,
Like
fresh,
clean, yeah, just coming out.
You just got a brand new grill and you just got brand new charcoal.
Yeah, or maybe this is a Hank Hill version. It's propane, man. Taste the meat, not the heat. Like, the smoke's there, but it's not interrupting the barley.
Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is for being that, Lagavulins and Lafroigs, Ardbegs, you're talking, 35 to 45 ppm, respectively.
Yeah, maybe get a 60 occasionally.
Yeah, depending on what bottle it is. Maybe it's 133, it's double. Like, you definitely don't get double the smoke at all. You don't even get the same level of smoke you get in some of those whiskeys, even at a lower ABV.
Yeah, we're coming in at, I believe, 5 or 6 years on this one, Mike. You
Five.
remember? 5.
Yes, I know.
So we're coming in at 5 years, and we're coming in at, massive high ABV. And I think that's really, part of the magic here is quality oak, exceptional quality oak.
Exceptional oak.
Very clean barley. And then that cask strength maturation, that's what's doing it.
I don't know if anybody on Islay, which is definitely my favorite whiskey region, I don't know if anybody puts more money into their casks than this distillery at this point. I would say in the past, maybe Ardbeg. I definitely know it ain't Lagavulin. I definitely know it isn't Ardbeg. Or excuse me, I definitely know it isn't Lafroig. Isn't Bowmore.
No.
Unahatman does some nice things. Kilhoman's doing some nice things.
Kilhoman's probably the one who might be rivaling them in the cask choices.
But I still say, the black arts are one thing. When you can make a 5-year-old whiskey this peated, this nuanced, and have this many flavors, wow.
Well, and you go look at their website. They tell you, here, we found this cask. We've got this wine cask. They'll even tell you, look, we've used a blend of Jack Daniels, Buffalo Trace, and Heaven Hill Bourbon. Complete transparency, and
love that.
And they're absolutely going out and looking for good bourbon barrel casks. You can just tell on the nose.
And they feel like they have the most leeway when it comes to experimentation, too. I mean, how exotic their casks are just amazing. Then they just bring it all together. Okay, so getting back to this particular one, we talked about the sweetness, everything else like that. I'm getting an oakiness to it. I'm also getting a really nice, rich vanilla to this one as well. And there's something citrus to it, almost like a lemon custard. But I'm getting lemon. Lemon, vanilla, all that. What do you pick on the palate?
There's also some yogurt in here. Really nice yogurt. Palate is much sweeter than I even expected from the nose, which is nice, beautifully sweet. Those wine casks really come out up front, but then they come back in the finish. On the finish, I'm just getting beautiful first fill, or it's got to be first fill bourbon maturation, kicking in with lovely wine. And then, there's a nice mellow smoke throughout here. I don't get menthol. I don't get bitter.
I get mint. It's a little minty. I get lemon. I would say this is white wine.
Oh, yeah. We kind of had a discussion on this, and we're not sure if these are French wines or white or not. One of them said it could be either or and still have the same name from our very limited research.
Tastes like a white wine.
It does.
Very dry. Very drying.
But it's a dessert white wine a little bit too. It is, everything about this is dessert with peat.
And smoke. You got to get past it to get the smoke in the barley is the shell of a clam. And inside there's a pearl of sweetness. But you got to be able to open up that clam.
I'm just now actually getting nothing but smoke right now in my mouth. So
the finish gets smoky.
Yeah. So I had it, I was thinking, all I can think about when I drink these is the sweetness. The richness, the creaminess, the mouthfeel. I forget this is peated whiskey, Mike. And then the finish comes in, I'm going, oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah, with peated whiskeys, the nose and sometimes the palate can be deceptive. But at some point, you're going to have to swallow that whiskey, and you're going to know it's a smoky peated whiskey at that point, because it's going to absolutely and just cover the experience.
My cheeks right here, my inside of my mouth, it's coated with peat right now, and it's beautiful. And I'm still also getting these really nice oak notes. And we don't talk. 5-year-old whiskey, you never talk about the oak.
Well, not with a Scotch, especially not with their weather.
No, and if you are talking about it, it's usually like, wow, this is weird and shape. But this feels like I went into Home Depot and I said, hey guys, what's the cheapest way I can build a barn? And they said, well, don't use that wood. That'll fall apart. And he said, I'll take all of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like this is nice. This is quality oak all the way through here.
Yeah, I would imagine a big portion of the barrels they use are first fill, or if they're not first fill, they're barrels that have been used very, very lightly for short periods of time until they had them, mixed in for some type of maturation process with this.
Yeah, I mean, you're just getting so much nice, clean bourbon notes here.
Also kind of reminds me of Kalila with the freshness of some of the smoke in the casks in this one. It's not young as much as it is fresh.
So that water, Mike, I said I didn't get menthol at first. I didn't get the mint until now. And I'm getting, it's almost like you go into a restaurant, they've got those little mints that kind of like dissolve in your mouth. Mm-hmm. It's like a little bit of that, like those little ones, not the big ones, it's our spirit, like, the big ones, but those little guys. It's just really nice.
I get mint more and more with some of these Islas. It really comes out, it's nice. Maybe even a slight tobacco note to it too.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a little bit of...
on the finish.
Yeah.
All right, so
it's wet tobacco though, it's not that dried tobacco leaf.
Yeah, it's like they haven't even picked the Jitnins in the field.
Yeah, or like it's fall and it's been raining and you're walking by the tobacco barn.
Yeah, it's
nice.
Yeah, it's heavy. All right, so as far as the whiskey score, as Octomores go, this is one of the ones I enjoy more. I mean, I would say whiskey score, I'm an 88 out of 100. It's not an amazing whiskey, but for what it is, 5-year-old whiskey, not cheap. Really does, it fits a niche that usually you don't have, period, in the whiskey industry. They really created their own category for me with these Octomores, and I love them. I don't think they're amazingly complex whiskeys, but for 5 years, they get about as much out of a 5-year whiskey as you possibly can. 88 out of 100. Dustin, where you at?
I'm all over the place, Mike, but I'm gonna go with 89 on this one. It is honestly at $300. I don't think you're getting a bad value. And that's a bold statement for such a young whiskey, but that's where I'm at. I paid about $230 for the bottle I bought, plus tax, and I felt like I got a deal.
Yeah, I got a little less than $200 delivered, but I'll say this.
You got the UK bottling, I got the US.
Yeah, so it's 700 ml. There's a little bit of difference, 2 ounces or so. But I will say this about this whiskey. I can tell you this. It's not old whiskey, but it is beautiful barley. It is aggressive, unique peat smoke. Yeah, I know it's using some quality casks. I know more so than anything, it feels like, I know this is a dumb saying, it feels like it was made with love. Yeah. Something my grandma used to say. You can just tell the way they did things is better than the way most people do things.
They weren't trying to save money by using 5-year whiskey.
No.
They were trying to make the best whiskey that they could make out of the cask they had, and this was what they had to do. Yeah,
they killed it. This was absolutely great whiskey. Don't think an 88's a bad score. It's just, it's a 5-year-old whiskey, and it's right in line for what I paid for it.
We're saying $200 to $300 whiskey right here.
Yeah, and I paid it a little bit less than $200. I'd absolutely do it again. It's at the right price point, even though it's a young whiskey, cask strength. It's checking a lot of boxes. Great whiskey. Anyway, tell me what you think if you had this 9.3. Casey, the Octomores, bro. There you go. Stop complaining. I'm kidding. All right, folks. We want to thank you for once again joining for another whiskey review. Love to see you in the comments section, especially if you've had any Octomore in this one in particular. Until next time, what do we wish the folks, Dustin?
Happy drinking.
See you then.